get our other streams up. We got YouTube up. Happy Balanced Millennial Monday. Let's get TikTok up, and we are gonna be ready to go. I got a lot of information today too, so I'm gonna get all this in, get all this information in, and we gonna get going. Let me get TikTok going. Hey, chill out. Getting TikTok going. Make sure my TikTok video is exactly how I like. Okay. Everybody is up now. All right. Welcome to Balanced Millennial Monday, y'all. Oh, I think the only thing I'm missing, hold on 1 second. Because I got to keep practicing my elevator pitch with y'all. But I got it written down. But I do want to keep practicing it. So let me pull that up over here. Get my elevator pitch together. There. Y'all, if we run into any sound issues, please let me know. Please let me know if we run into any sound issues, because we ain't trying to do all that today. Okay. Hope y'all having a great Monday. I tell you, my Monday has been amazing because I took the day off today for my dentist appointment, and I was so glad I did because it was just more relaxing day. Oh, okay. It's telling me to close other browsers. Hold on, let me see if it'll let me split the screen here. And then let me close this other tab real quick. Let me close TikTok out. Facebook, can you hear me though? Let me see. Hey, TikTok. Okay. All right. Okay, hopefully Facebook ain't gonna trip on me today. We gonna see. Hopefully Facebook is not gonna trip on me today. I hope everybody's having a great Monday and are ready. I hope you got your journal, your notebook, your whatever you plan on writing in today, because we're gonna continue the topic of overthinking. And I'm excited about all the information I have to share with y'all today. I am super excited about all this information to share with y'all today about overthinking. Okay, let me see, because I don't want no issues with Facebook playing with my stream. So let me make sure I don't have nothing else up that's going to interrupt my stream. And anybody on Facebook, please let me know if you have any sound issues or anything like that. YouTube too. And we're about to get started in one moment. I got to make sure I have everything up that I need. Okay, so let me exit out of this really quick and then go back to it. Because y'all know I got to have my notes. Gotta have my notes. I don't like just going off the fly with y'all, because then I get to talk about shit we ain't supposed to be talking about. So I gotta have my notes. All right. So welcome to week 3 of the Balanced Millennial Monday. So of course we are continuing our conversation about overthinking. Today we are going to dive into a step-by-step process that will help you decipher between your thoughts and thinking. I won't say stop overthinking, but decrease how often you overthink. And I wanted to show you how to use overthinking as a tool to get out of survival mode, because at Premier Personal Growth Firm, we are all about helping guide millennials out of survival mode and into a more balanced lifestyle. So my name is Key, the Conscious Living Coach, and I specialize in helping millennials who feel overwhelmed, burned out, and they're juggling their careers, personal goals, and social commitments. So I work with millennials to reclaim their time and energy by identifying your stressors, clarifying your values and priorities, and creating personalized action plans. So by working with me, you'll learn effective mindful time management, boundary setting, and self-care. Excuse me. And self-care routines. Jesus. Hold on, y'all. I got water today. I did good. I got water today. Oh, thank you for the gift. I feel like Chloe. How I cash out on that? I'm just playing. Thank you for the rose. It's making a lot of noise. I've never done this before. I feel like one of those NPC people. Should I be doing something special? Well, this live is special. Y'all don't get a lot of information. Sorry, I'm choking. Okay. By working with me, you'll learn effective mindful time management, boundary setting, and self-care techniques leading to a more balanced, fulfilled, and intentional life. So if you want to work with me, DM me or email me KEI to your goals at gmail.com, or you can check out my website, premierpersonalgrowthfirm.com. So let's get started. Again, hope you got your journals out. Hope you got something to write on. Hope you got something to take notes because I'm teaching. I'm in my teacher bag. I'm in my training bag, and I am teaching. Let me check. Okay. All right. So we talked last week about understanding the difference between thinking and thought. So we're going to start there because a big way to turn overthinking into a superpower is for you to understand the difference. You have to know the difference. You have to know the difference between when you have a thought and when you're thinking. So we started that conversation last week. So again, thoughts are spontaneous and random mental events. They're spontaneous and random mental events. So I want you to recognize when you're having a thought. When you're having a thought, it is random and spontaneous. So an example, right? You suddenly remember that you forgot to call a friend back. Y'all know we be like, I'm gonna call you back. That's anytime. You're gonna call them back maybe 3 months from now, but you're gonna call them back. So maybe you randomly remember that you forgot to call a friend back. Maybe last week you said that you were going to call a friend back and you randomly thought about how you were supposed to call that friend back. That is a thought. That is a thought. That is a thought. Now, thinking is deliberate and conscious. It's the deliberate and conscious process of analyzing and synthesizing information. Deliberate and conscious process, y'all. Thinking is deliberate and conscious. Even if you don't realize you're thinking, you're still doing it. Even if you're thinking so much that you don't even like know what you're thinking about. Like, you know how sometimes you get so deep into thinking that you come back and like, damn, what was I even thinking about? You're still thinking. So an example of this is, let's say you're considering the pros and cons before making a major job change. That is thinking. That is thinking when you're being deliberate, when you're being conscious about the process, when you are actually taking the time to analyze something, to put information together, to process information, to gather new information. You're thinking, you're thinking, you're thinking. So again, a thought is spontaneous and often random. Thinking is deliberate and conscious. So I want you to have that understanding in the back of your mind because it's going to be very, very important for you to clearly identify whether you're having a thought or whether you are thinking. Those two are two different things, and you want to be very clear about that. So you want to take a moment and acknowledge whether you are having thoughts or if you are engaging in thinking. Remember, it's a deliberate choice to engage in thinking. So that's going to be step one for identifying and being able to turn this into your superpower. So in order to turn overthinking into a superpower, you have to understand the difference between a thought and thinking. A big reason why it's important for us to turn overthinking into a superpower is because a lot of y'all are like, oh, I hate that I overthink all the time. I hate that I'm such an overthinker. I hear people say that about themselves all the time, is they hate how much they overthink. And it's like, really, you need to learn how to use that as a superpower, because someone who's overthinking is someone who can analyze very well. It's someone who's creative. It's someone who is able to identify the good and the bad in situations, or the positive and the negative in situations, or the best and worst parts of a situation. So you want to start turning that into a superpower and using it to benefit you. Because a lot of times people are like, "Oh, I'm so tired of overthinking." People are like, "I'm so tired of overthinking. I hate that I'm always overthinking. I hate that, my thoughts are just exhausting to me and things like that." Which, again, your thoughts are not exhausting you. The thinking is exhausting you. The engaging of the thoughts is what's exhausting to you, not the thinking itself. So that is step one. You got to know the difference. You got to know the difference between thoughts and thinking. When you're having a thought, it's random. When you're thinking, you're engaging with that thought. All right, step two. So step two is going to be identify your triggers. You got to identify your trigger, because overthinking begins with certain triggers. Overthinking begins with triggers, because, again, thoughts are random. So the fact that you're having this thought, it's just a random part of your mental process, is the thought itself. But when you start overthinking, something normally triggered you. Something has triggered you into overthinking, because you don't overthinking is not a natural process. The thoughts are a natural process, but overthinking is not a natural process. So something has triggered you. So what you want to do is you want to keep a journal to note down your triggers. If you're looking for a journal, you can get the Visionary Journal off of Amazon. If you type in Kendra Ware Visionary Journal, you can get a copy off of Amazon. And the journal, the Visionary Journal, does have blank pages in the back of the journal for you to write. I also have some shadow work prompts in here, if you're not sure what topics you want to focus on. So, but you want to keep a journal because you want to note down your triggers. You want to be aware of what's causing you to overthink. You want to be aware of what's causing you to overthink. So an example of this is, maybe you realize you start overthinking every time you hear a certain colleague criticizing you, right? So every time that coworker has something to say, every time that friend, that aunt, and that uncle, your mom, whoever has something to say, then you start overthinking. You want to be aware of those triggers, because this, again, is going to be how you turn this to your superpower. Because in order to turn something that you hate about yourself, and remember, at Premier Personal Growth Firm, we don't believe in that. Even things that you dislike about yourself can benefit you. Even things that you dislike about yourself can benefit you. I am all about turning your habits, your behaviors, your traits into things that can help you, that can support you, that can help your journey, right? So you want to know your triggers. So you need to be journaling your triggers. You need to be journaling your triggers. You need to be journaling your triggers. I preach this all the time, because if you don't know what triggers you, you're never going to be able to face the things that are bothering you, because you have to know. You have to know. You also have to identify the patterns and situations that lead to overthinking, right? You got to identify the patterns, because taking that one experience and saying that, "Oh, every time I'm around this coworker and they have some shit to say, I am overthinking." Now you got to start noticing the pattern. So what work situations are you in where this coworker even feels comfortable saying shit to you? Like, what work environment, what meeting are you in? What day of the week? Like, start noticing the patterns, right? So maybe you overthink the most before bedtime, when your mind isn't occupied. A lot of people spend hours at night overthinking. A lot of people spend hours at night. Like, there are people who are like, "Oh, I only slept for 2 or 3 hours last night," because they spent most of their night overthinking. And when they finally exhausted themselves to the point where their body can naturally fall asleep, you only get 2 or 3 hours of sleep. So you want to pay attention to that. You want to identify the patterns. You want to notice when you're overthinking the most, and you want to journal that as well. You want to journal that as well. So that is step two. That is going to be step two. Step two is going to be to identify your triggers, identify the triggers, identify the patterns of those triggers, because you're going to need to know, when I teach you some of the techniques in a little bit, you're going to need to know when to even use those techniques. You're going to need to know, because there's no point in knowing techniques on how to overcome overthinking if you don't know when to use them. And that's one of the things that I do with clients as well, is making sure that they're aware of what's going on within their body, within their mind. So that way, when it comes up, they know how to face it. They know what to say. They know what to do. They know what to feel. So you got to identify your triggers. You have to know why you're overthinking. You have to know what's triggering you to overthink. What behaviors other people around you are doing that's triggering you to overthink. You got to know the patterns. What are your personal patterns when it comes to overthinking? Do you overthink in a car when you're driving to work? Are you overthinking in meetings when you're supposed to be paying attention? Are you overthinking at night before you go to bed? Like, what is your pattern? Identify your pattern and journal it down. Write it down. Write it down. And I'm a big fan of journaling and writing things down because it's y'all, it's a beautiful thing to be able to go back and look at your growth. It is a beautiful thing to be able to go back and look at your growth, to be able to go back and see how you used to think, to be able to go back and see how you used to feel, to be able to go back and see the things you used to accept in your life that you no longer accept anymore. That is a beautiful experience, y'all. And it actually helps push you to grow more and push you to outside of your comfort zone when you go back and read those things, because you could be struggling with something right now that's a new struggle for you. But when you go back and read those old journal entries and you're like, damn, I didn't even remember that I used to deal with shit like that. And I got over it. I moved on from it. I healed myself from that. I did the work to get out of that. And that'll give you that confidence to do it again. Because sometimes when you're not journaling things and you're just going through life, you don't you don't really absorb the fact that you have pushed through something harder than this in the past. So that's why I love journaling, because it's like a way for you to track your own growth, to track your own experiences, to track your own progress. And you need that. You need to have that. You need to have something that is tracking your growth, your progress, your experiences, because that's what's going to give you the confidence to keep pushing forward. Because you're going to look back at that journal entry and you're going to be like, damn, I've been got over some shit like this before. I've been, I've been moved on past this. And that's going to help you. So that is step 2. Step 2 is to identify your triggers. You need to be writing down your triggers. All right, now step 3, y'all should know, practice mindfulness. You have to practice mindfulness. You have to practice mindfulness. You have to be aware, right? You have to be aware. There is no way for you to turn overthinking into your superpower if you are not mindful of the fact that you're overthinking, if you're not mindful of when you're overthinking, if you're not mindful about what's causing you to overthink. So I always advise clients meditation. Meditation. I am so big on meditation, right? And I have a couple meditation videos on YouTube. That y'all can watch. I have a guided meditation and I have a square breathing meditation. So spending 5 to 10 minutes daily in meditation helps you center your thoughts, right? A lot of times you're overthinking because your thoughts are moving fast as fuck through your mind, right? Your thoughts are spiraling around your brain, right? And y'all, again, I think I talked about this last week. But knowing how you think is really helpful too. I think in words. Like, I don't think in pictures, I don't think in images, I don't think in concepts, I think in words. So if I'm overthinking, what that looks like for me inside my mind is that these words are literally spiraling around in my head. They're spiraling around. If you think in concepts, that means you have probably a whole layout of different concepts constantly shifting in your mind. If you think in images, if you think in like visual, you probably have a lot of different pictures spiraling around in your head. You have to know how you think and how that shows up in your mind in order for you to help center your thoughts. And when I tell y'all, that has been such a game changer, because that helps with manifestation too, because you should be manifesting in a way that you think. In the way that you think, you should be manifesting. So spend 5 to 10 minutes daily in meditation just to center your thoughts, just to bring your thoughts to center, to ground yourself. So you can use a guided meditation app like Simple Habit. I use Simple Habit. I love Simple Habit. I need to get me a sponsorship. Y'all will see it soon. I'm saying it out loud now so y'all can see it soon. That's my manifestation. Because I've been using Simple Habit for years. I usually have my clients download Simple Habit because it's a lot of free meditations on there. You don't have to pay for the app. You have the option to pay, and of course get more meditations, more access, things like that. But you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay for the app. It's plenty of free meditation. I've used it for years and have never paid for that, and I still can use it every single day and meditate with no problem every single day. So download an app. I would advise Simple Habit and start meditating for 5 to 10 minutes every single day. Every single day. Because what that's going to do is that's going to help you become clear about what you're thinking. Because even when I do a brain dump with clients, and we do this brain dump, a big part of that is because I want you to get all the thoughts that are in your mind out of your mind and on paper. I want you to get it all on paper. all on paper. And if you want a brain dump, I do offer that as a one-on-one service. Just DM me and I will definitely send you the link to book that. But you gotta start centering your thoughts. You gotta start putting your thoughts into one central place so that way you can be clear about what you're saying. Because like I said again, I see words when I'm thinking. So when I'm centering my thoughts, what that looks like for me is that the words are getting going into one spot and chilling out. They're going into one spot and chilling out. So that's going to look different for you if you're a visual person and you see images. What that's probably going to look like for you if you see images is that all those images are going to be chilled out in one spot. If you see concepts, instead of it being like a whole map of just different concepts, all those concepts are going to be chilling in one spot. So you have to start doing that on the regular. You need to make sure that you are centering your thoughts on the regular because that's going to help you keep up with them better. That's going to help you manage them better. That's going to help you have more control on your overthinking. You also need to be spending time deep breathing. Hey, Erica. You also need to be spending time, Jelly Belly, thank you for the love. You also need to be spending time deep breathing. You need to be spending time deep breathing. So simple techniques like deep breathing can help you calm your mind. It can help you calm your mind. I don't know what this is. I like it. I like that. I don't know what it was. But it'll help you calm your mind. Because when your thoughts are spiraling, when you're overthinking, your thoughts are going crazy in your head. They're going crazy. Your heart rate is going to be up. Your anxiety is going to be up. You're going to be constantly worrying about something. You're going to be on edge. I know we talked about symptoms in the first one. You're not going to be able to sleep. You're going to feel uneasy all the time. So you have to keep that in mind. And that's why you need to be doing some deep breathing throughout the day. Because like one thing about me, whenever I find myself overthinking, I just stop right then and there and take a deep breath. Like, hey, girl, chill out, chill out, chill out, chill out. So here are some deep breathing techniques that you can use when you're overthinking. The 4-7-8 breathing exercise. I really love 4-7-8, especially if you're trying to sleep and you're having a hard time sleeping. I love the 4-7-8. Now, the way that I do 4-7-8 is I will inhale for 4, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. So when you're trying to sleep and you're overthinking and you're trying to calm your nervous system, because that's what this is all about. Y'all know I am all about a regulated nervous system. So this is what this is all about. To get out of survival mode, you have to have a regulated nervous system. That's just what it is. Like you're not going to get out of survival mode if your nervous system is not regulated. So I love the 4-7-8 breathing technique because when you're trying to regulate your nervous system, in order to sleep, you want your inhale to be shorter than your exhale. You want your exhale to be longer than your inhale. So when your exhale is longer than your inhale, that is telling your body, that's telling your mind that you're trying to go to sleep. It's telling your body that you're trying to go to sleep. So 4-7-8, I love the 4-7-8 one. Again, what I do is I inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8, and that's the cycle that I repeat. And when I tell y'all, you'll be asleep. So try it tonight. If you have a hard time going to sleep, try the 4-7-8 technique tonight and then DM me and tell me how it went because I want to know if it worked for you. Y'all know I love square breathing. I'm a big advocate of square breathing. Square breathing is 4 all around. So exhale for 4, hold for 4, inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4. And you just do that over and over and over and over again, over and over and over again until you calm down. Now, I like square breathing for, let's say you're in a car, let's say you're in a meeting. So again, we talked about those triggers. When you see that trigger pop up, you want to start breathing. You want to calm yourself because you want to bring yourself back to the present. When you're overthinking, you're not in the present no more. So you want to bring yourself back to the present, and you do that by practicing meditation. You do that by deep breathing. So keep that in mind when you're overthinking. That's going to be step 3 is that you have to practice mindfulness. If you want to turn overthinking into your superpower, you have to practice mindfulness. You have to spend some time in meditation. You have to spend some time deep breathing because that is what's going to bring you back to the present. When you're overthinking, you are no longer in the present. You are worried about the past. You are worried about the future. You are no longer in the present when you're overthinking. So you want to keep that in mind. Start practicing meditation. Download the Simple Habit app. Go on YouTube and watch some meditation videos. So that's step 3. Step 4, I want you to start challenging your thoughts. Step 4 is my favorite. Step 4 is my favorite because I want you to turn into a lawyer about your thoughts. When you're overthinking, I want you to turn into a lawyer about that, because not all your thoughts are facts. Everything that you think is not a fact. Everything that you think is not a fact. So I want you to turn into a lawyer and start presenting facts against that thought process. Start presenting facts. Because the first thing I want you to ask yourself is this true? Is this true? When you have that thought, remember, a thought is random. When you engage with that thought, that is thinking. So when you have this thought, I want you to ask yourself, is this true? Is this true? That's it. Simple question. Is this true? So you can have a random thought, right? That your friend didn't text you back. I think my friend is upset with me because she didn't text me back. Is this really true or just my assumption? Is it true or am I assuming? So you have to start asking yourself, when you start engaging with that thought and you start thinking, ask yourself, is it true? Is it true? Because a lot of the things that you are thinking about aren't true. Just because you think about it all day long doesn't mean it's true. Just because you engage with that thought every single time it pops up doesn't mean it's true. So you want to start challenging that thought process. You want to start challenging what you're thinking. And you want to ask yourself, is it true? You also need to ask yourself, what evidence do I have? What proof do I have? You're a lawyer, right? You a lawyer right now. You a lawyer right now. What evidence do I have? What evidence do I have? Right? So we talked about, the colleague that triggers you at work, your coworker that triggers you at work, right? So he was quiet during the meeting. But what evidence do I have that it's anything more than tiredness? Because when you're overthinking, a lot of times you're making assumptions. And it's usually worst case scenario. It's usually worst case scenario. And you're making assumptions and it's the worst case scenario, right? So you want to ask yourself, what evidence do I have? What evidence do I have? What proof do I have that this person is mad at me? What proof do I have that this person is talking about me? What proof do I have that this negative comment was directed at me? What proof do you have? And if you don't have any proof, then let that shit go. Let that shit go. And I mean just like that, just let it go. Move on. Think about something else. that was hard for me because I fact check everything. Yeah, you have to ask, like, what proof do you have? Because a lot of times when you are overthinking, you do not have any proof for what you're saying. There is no proof for what's being said. There's no proof. You also need to ask yourself, what's the worst case scenario, right? What is the worst case scenario? I like this question when you're overthinking to the point where you are not acting. Because a lot of times when you're overthinking, it causes inaction, right? So I like this question. What is the worst case scenario? So when you're overthinking to the point where you are scared of making a choice, you need to ask yourself, what's the worst case scenario? If I make a mistake in my report, how bad would it be? What steps can I take to correct it? Like, if I fuck up this report, who gonna whoop my ass? Like, you gotta start asking yourself this stuff for real, because it's like, we grown. We're grown. We are grown. Like, a lot of us, I always go back to parents, our parents, and a lot of us are still scared of punishment as if we're 12 years old still, or as if we're 7, or as if we're 16. We are still scared of consequences and punishment as if we're little kids. And we're not little kids. I don't work with kids. Those days over. I work with adults. We are not little kids, okay? So you have to start asking yourself, what is the worst case scenario, and how can I fix it if that happens? Because once you put yourself in the worst case scenario, like, situation, a lot of times that shit ain't even gonna happen. A lot of times that shit is not even gonna happen. It's not even gonna happen. So you have to ask yourself, what is the worst case scenario? Start challenging your thought process, challenging it. Become a lawyer and ask these questions. Is it true? Hope y'all writing this down. Is it true? What evidence do I have? And what is the worst case scenario? Erica said, my friend tell me that all the time. Why you still so scared? Yeah. Cause who gonna whoop your ass? Who is gonna whoop your ass? Like, no, we grown. If you make a mistake at work, the worst thing that's gonna happen is you have to apologize and fix that shit. You might have to do more work to fix it, but shit, you still on the clock getting paid. Who the fuck cares? Who cares? Who cares? And when you clock out from that job, you shouldn't be thinking about that job no way. When you clock out from that 9 to 5, you shouldn't be thinking about that bitch no way. You should not still be thinking about work when you get out of work. I don't even like talking to people about work. They job, my job, what I don't even like talking about work outside of work. You better talk to me about work while I'm on the clock. Because I'm getting paid to talk about it right now. When I'm off the clock, I don't even work there when I'm off the clock. Don't even bring that shit up to me when I'm off the clock. I don't. Well, I preach work-life balance because I have it. I preach it because I have it. All right. So that is step 4, is to challenge your thoughts. Okay. You gotta get on your lawyer shit, and you gotta start challenging your thoughts. You gotta start asking yourself, is this shit even true? Right? All right. Step 5, you need to start setting time limits. You need to start setting time limits. Now, it is perfectly human and perfectly okay to overthink things, okay? But you got to start putting time limits on that shit. You got to start putting time limits on that shit. So time blocking, y'all know I love a good time block. Y'all know I'm always telling y'all, put a timer on and do that shit, and when that timer go off, move on, right? So same thing here. When you are overthinking, give yourself 15 to 30 minutes to think things through. This is the reason why I always do brain dumps with my clients, and the reason why I tell y'all to book a brain dump session with me, because you do need that time. Like, you need that time to actually sit and get everything that's on your mind off of your mind and onto paper. Because once you get it on the paper, it's like a breath of relief. It's like a breath of relief, but you don't know that if you've never done that. If you've never done a brain dump before, you don't know that. You don't know how much of a relief it is to just sit there and write it all out. Sit there and write it all out. It is such a relief. So I definitely advise to book a brain dump with me. If you want to book a brain dump with me, just DM me and I could definitely get you the link for that brain dump. Because it's such a relief. It feels so good to like sit there for 5, 10, 15 minutes, depending on how much you got going on. So just sit there for 5, 10, 15 minutes and write everything down. Just write everything down. Everything that's on your brain, just write it down. Just write it down. As soon as that thought pops up, write it down. You don't have to engage with it. You don't have to plan, solve, resolve, none of that. Just write it down. It's so helpful. I have a brain dump mini course too. If you're not ready to do a one-on-one session with me, I have a brain dump mini course. And then once I launch the Balanced Millennial membership, which I have another name for, but I forgot the name, y'all. Y'all, I'm working on a lot of stuff. But I got another name for the membership program. That course will be inside of that membership. And everyone that signs up for that membership will have access to that course. But you got to start scheduling your worry time. We're going to call that worry time. You got to schedule your worry time. So schedule like 15 minutes for the day to sit there and just worry. Just worry, just stress, just get all the things, all the concerns for the day. Just sit there and let your mind do it. Just sit there and let your mind do it. And also, when you have this planned into your day, it decreases the amount of time you're going to overthink throughout the day, because your body already knows that at 5 o'clock, at 5:30, at 6 o'clock, like whatever time you decide, your body knows that you already have 15 minutes to sit there and worry. You already have 15 minutes to sit there and stress, to sit there and think about all the bullshit going on, and sit there and think about all the things that are stressing you out. You already have that allocated time for the day. So when your body knows that, you're going to spend less time overthinking throughout the day. So do some time blocking. Do some time blocking and make sure you sit there and take the time to really, really, really just sit there and worry. Just sit there and worry. Think of all the worst case scenarios, do all the questioning, do all the stressing. And then when that timer go off, move on. Move on. So once the time is up, you got to move on to something else. Once that timer is up, move on. So this one is one of my favorite tips about when it comes to overthinking, right? And I say it's one of my favorite tips mainly because when I catch myself overthinking, y'all, I will hop my ass right up. And I mean like dead ass. Like I will, if I'm on a couch overthinking, I will literally hop up off the couch and go do something. So start doing that. Like start doing that. When you're overthinking, Just get up and go do something. There's always something to be done. A dish got to be washed. A vacuum needs to be vacuuming. A mop needs to be mopping. A grocery errand run needs to be ran. Something needs to be dropped off somewhere. A return needs to happen. You always have something to do. That's why y'all be stressed. That's why you're stressed now, because you always have something to do. But if you're sitting there thinking about what you got to do instead of just doing it, that just adds to your overthinking. So when you're sitting there overthinking, get up and go do something. Get up and go do something. Get up and go scrub a toilet. Get up and go do something, because there's always something to do. There's always something to do. So that's how you're gonna move on. That's how you're gonna help with your overthinking. That's how you're gonna turn overthinking into your superpower, because you'll realize that, damn, I don't really have that much to overthink about, because shit, the house is clean, car is clean, food is cooked. You know what I'm saying? There's always something to do. So if you get up off your ass and just go do something, you have less time to overthink. And I don't want to get into the decentering men conversation that I had started on TikTok, because I think that's a big thing for decentering men too. A lot of women who have a hard time decentering men is because their lives revolve around a man. We just saw what happened with old girl. We just saw what happened with old girl. Her life revolved around that man. Miss, I pack his lunch before every game. Miss, I rub his back to sleep at night. Miss, I got that $1 million make you change your mind. Miss, all those things, right? All those things. And that man's still looking for his wife. That man is still looking for his wife. Okay? So yes, make sure that you are getting up off your ass and going to do stuff. Just go do something. Go walk around a park. Go walk around your neighborhood. If you're at work and you find yourself overthinking, get up and go do something that you've been putting off at work. Just go do something. I'm telling y'all, that is going to help with your overthinking so much, is to just get active. Just get active. Get up and go do something, because that's going to help you move on. Because now you not thinking about that for real. Now you trying to focus on getting this dinner cooked. Now you trying to focus on getting the floor mop. Now you're focusing on something else that needs to be done anyway. So might as well get up and do it. Might as well get up and do it. So even when I'm doing a brain dump, when we're doing a brain dump, and after you have everything down, what we do is we prioritize. We put everything in categories and prioritize things, right? Excuse me, y'all. We put everything in categories and we prioritize it. So there's not going to be time for you to overthink anyway, because you're going to have this brain dump and you're going to have this organized list of things that need to get done, to the point where when you catch yourself overthinking, look at that list. Put that list on a wall. Put that list on a wall. Y'all know I'm big on putting stuff on a wall. Put that list on a wall, because then you're going to, every time you start overthinking, you can look at that list and be like, nope, got to go do that. Nope, got to go do that. Got to go do that. Something always has to get done. You always have something to do. You always have something to do. But if you're spending most of your day overthinking, you're probably not doing a lot. Or you're not doing what's important. Or you're not doing what's important. All right, so step 6. Step 6, we got 2 more steps, because it's a 7-step process. We got a 7-step process here. Y'all know I like the number 7. That's my number. 7-step process, and I'm probably gonna turn this into a mini class. I'm probably gonna turn this this whole thing into a mini class. So it'll have like worksheets and all that stuff. Which again, when I launch the membership, so okay, before I go into step 6, promo real quick. So I'm gonna have 2 membership programs, right? There's going to be a $9 membership program, which gives you access to the resource library. And a resource library is just going to have a bunch of different mindfulness, different mini classes and things like that, to help you on your journey to balance. So that's going to be $9 a month. That's just going to be you having access to that. I'm going to be, uploading new programs, uploading new mini classes and things like that. And just some self-paced things that you can do in your own time. Things that might take 20 minutes, things that might take 30 minutes, things that might take 5 minutes, like just some short self-paced things. Whereas my coaching membership, that is going to be group coaching. So there's going to be 1 group coaching session per month, and then there's going to be 1 group training per month. And that membership is going to be $149 per month. So if you are interested in either of those memberships, definitely make sure you DM me so I can give you some more information, because they have not launched yet, but they will be launching soon. So again, $9 membership for just access to the resources and the mini classes and things like that. Whereas the $149 membership will get you a group coaching session per month, and you will get a group training, and you also have access to the library. So everyone that's in the group membership will have access to the library as well. So quick little promo, quick little sub. It's coming. It is coming. All right, but step 6 though. So step 6 is you need to use overthinking to your advantage. So overthinking can be a sign of a creative and analytical mind. I told you at the beginning. Overthinking means that you are very creative. Because when people be overthinking, they be coming up with the wildest shit. I be like, how did you think of that? Like, how did you? I would have never thought of that. Like, when people are overthinking, they be creative as fuck. I'm like, damn, I would have never thought. That's some Final Destination thinking right there. I'd have never thought of no shit like that. So when you're overthinking, you have a very creative mind. Use that to your advantage. Use that to your advantage. Use that analytical mind to your advantage. Use that to your advantage, because that is an advantage. You know how many people don't overthink at all because they don't think about nothing? Use it to your advantage, okay? There are a lot of people who are not overthinking, not because they have, built this habit, this muscle. This is a muscle. This is about building a muscle. I don't teach y'all nothing you're gonna learn quick. Nothing I teach y'all is something you learn really quick. Everything with me is about building a muscle. And there are so many people who don't have a creative mind. They don't have an analytical mind. So they usually just do whatever because it's just less mental strain on them. Overthinkers have a very creative mind, have a very analytical mind, and you need to use that to your advantage. So the first one is listing pros and cons. So a lot of y'all are not listing pros and cons. And I do this with my clients. When my clients are like at a crossroads about something, I have them list the pros and cons, because there are times where situations have more pros than cons or more cons than pros, but your decision is not necessarily based on the number of pros and cons. It's based on you actually understanding what's most important to you and what you're willing to sacrifice to get whatever that is, right? So when you're making the pros and cons, it could be the pros and cons of a new job, right? Maybe you want to accept a new job offer. You need to use that overthinking to list the pros and cons. This is still part of like a brain dump, right? So you want to list out the pros and cons of this new job. And when you're listing out pros and cons, again, don't be like, oh, the pros has more and the cons have more. No, you need to know what your values are, because what you're more focused on is the value of what the pros are and the value of what the cons are. Because you can have a long list of cons and a very short list of pros, but those pros are still more valuable to you than those cons, in a sense of like, I can accept this job even with all these cons because these pros are what I really want right now in my life. Like, this is what I really, really want in my life. This aligns very, very well, in my life. Erica said, yep, did that activity really did help? Yep, because we did this with Erica. We did the pros and cons with Erica, and it helps you create clarity, because y'all know I'm all about making sure that you create clarity so you can make your own decisions, because I'm never going to tell you what to do. I am not your boss. I am not a cop. I am not your parent. I am not in charge of you. I'm never going to tell you what to do. Everything that you do with me is going to be about you learning how to make the best decisions for you. So I'm never going to tell you what to do. I'm never going to tell you what's the best option for you or which route you should go, because you're an adult. I respect you as an adult. And all I'm here for is to guide you through the process so that way you can make the best decision for you. So list out the pros and cons. List out the pros and cons. Use that overthinking to your advantage. This is how you turn it into your superpower, y'all. Because when you list out those pros and cons, you're spending that time overthinking. This is your 15-30-minute block, right? This is your 15-30-minute block. So you're going to take that 15-30-minute block, and you're going to list out all the pros and cons, overthink it. Overthink it. Use that creative mind. Think about all the shit that nobody else would think of. Do that. You also want to plan and strategize. So you want to turn your overthinking into detailed plans and strategies, because your overthinking has an A, B, C, D. You got all the points. You got all the points. Like, you don't thought about every single angle. Use that as a benefit. Use that as a benefit. You have thought of every single angle. So use that to plan. Use that to plan, right? I'm someone who I live near Atlanta. I don't like going to Atlanta. It gives me anxiety. It stresses me out really bad. I don't like going to Atlanta. And since that makes me overthink, because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get a boot. I'm a my car gonna get towed. My car gonna get broken into. Like, I'm always thinking about all the, because shit be wild in Atlanta. Parking finna be $50. Like, I'm always thinking about all the bad things that can happen. So what I do is I plan and strategize. Anytime I go to Atlanta, I plan the hell out of it. I plan the hell of it. I know exactly where I'm gonna park. I know how much I'm gonna have to pay. I know how long I'm gonna be there. I know exactly where the building is at. So you need to use that to plan, to create strategies, because you've already thought about all the worst case scenarios. You've already thought about all the steps and stages you're gonna have to deal with in order to get to the end. You've already thought about all that stuff. So use that as a benefit and create a plan. If you're having a trouble creating a plan, I definitely advise booking a balanced pathway planning session. They are half off for the rest of the month. So I definitely advise booking a balanced pathway planning session just to help you plan and strategize what you try to do. So reflect, don't ruminate, y'all. Reflect, don't ruminate. So you need to turn negative overthinking into positive reflection and learning. Because again, when you're overthinking, you are not in the present. You are either in the past or you are in the future. So when you're overthinking, you are not in the present. You need to make sure you're reflecting, but not ruminating. That's not the same thing. When you're reflecting, you're looking back to see how you can learn about what that past experience. What can I learn from this past experience? When you're ruminating, you're thinking about all the ways it made you feel terrible. You're thinking about all the ways it made you feel terrible, all the ways that you Eric, I think you mentioned something like that on one of my posts when you said, let me think. You said something about not being able to forget how you were treated. I think that's what you said on my post. And that is ruminating. That is ruminating. That is ruminating. You want to look back and reflect. You want to look back and think about all the times that you were in these experiences and what lesson you can learn to help you now. Like, what can I learn from these experiences that can help me now? So when you are overthinking, shift that in your thought process, right? Shift that. So when you catch yourself thinking negative, beating yourself up, negative self-talk, remember we talked about symptoms in the first week. We talked about symptoms in the first week and how one of the symptoms is negative self-talk. When you catch yourself having that negative self-talk, you want to shift that thought process and you want to start focusing more on what you can learn from that experience, because you can always learn something from your past experiences. You can learn something. All right, step 7 and the final step. Step 7 and the final step is getting out of survival mode. So it's very, very important when you're talking about overthinking. Excuse me. When you're talking about overthinking as a negative, because the reason why you see it as a negative is because you're still in survival mode. You are still just, treading the surface. You're below water, trying to get above water. Like, whatever the case may be, you are still stuck in survival mode. And you are ruminating and you are constantly thinking about all the things you can't afford, you can't do, you don't have time for. You're thinking about all those negative things, right? So you have to start improving your self-care. You have to start improving your self-care. You need to be focused on what you're eating, how much sleep you're getting, exercising. Y'all, when people think of exercising, they just swear up and down they got to go to the gym every single day or they got to go. No, take 10 minutes out your day to go walking. Take 10 minutes out your day to stretch. Take 10 minutes out your day, because what's going to happen is when you improve self-care, you'll realize the way you talk to yourself is better. Your experiences with yourself is better. The experience with the people around you is better. So you have to start improving your self-care, okay? That's one of the things that I do with my clients, and that is a very big, important journey of our time working together, is improving self-care, because you got to take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself first. You got to take care of yourself first, because the more that you give in to what everybody else around you needs, the more you're going to overthink. The more you're going to overthink. Think about all those times where you felt like somebody should have treated you a certain way because of how you treated them. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. Unfortunately, it don't work like that. You have to treat yourself the best, so that way you're not looking for someone else to fill in the holes, and you can give from a full cup. If you're giving from a half empty cup or an empty cup, you're always going to have this expectation that people should treat you exactly how you treat them. That's not how life works, okay? So making sure you are improving your self-care. If you need an audit on your self-care, definitely let me know. We can book a session to do that. So you can do an audit of your self-care. We can see how you can improve your self-care, because you got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of yourself first. You also need to be setting short-term goals, right? So you need to achieve small wins to build momentum. I always tell you, use the reward list, right? Use the key rewards bingo to help you reward yourself for these short-term goals. And we're thinking short-term goals. I'm thinking stuff as simple as, oh, I want to work out one time this week. I want to get one workout in this week. That's it. Just one workout in this week. Because when you're setting goals, you got to be realistic. I'm really, really big on being realistic about your goal. Now, you can amp your goal up once you build that momentum and once you have built that discipline. Because again, we're building muscles, y'all. These are mental muscles. So these are muscles that you have to build. These are not things you're just going to start out really good at. So telling yourself that I'm going to work out one time this week, reward yourself for that. If you make it and you work out one time this week, reward yourself. And then let that be a consistent thing. I'm going to work out one day a week for 3 weeks. Then I'm going to up it to 2 workouts a week for 3 weeks. Let yourself be realistic in your process. Let yourself be realistic when you're setting these short-term goals. And then when you achieve that goal, reward yourself. Reward yourself. And you also need to build support systems, y'all. A lot of times when you're overthinking, it's hard for you to check yourself because there's nobody around you to help you with that. There's nobody, because there are times where like people's overthinking comes out in conversation, right? So the things that you're thinking about will come out in conversation. I said this the other day. I ran into an old coworker, and one of the first things he asked me is, "Oh, how you got a man? Like you know you got a boo?" When in reality, that's what he wanted to talk about. In reality, he wanted to talk about his man and how good they was doing and all that stuff, which is cool, which is fine. But it comes out in conversation. Like what people are thinking about comes out in conversation. So you need to have those support systems so that way you can get some of these thoughts out in conversation, so you can hear facts, so you can hear the truth, so you can hear what's really going on, and you can really get somebody to check you. So and then also positive influences though. I'm not talking about the negative Nancy's around you. I'm talking about like people who have things positive to say. Why was that of his business? I know, right? I don't know why. But again, I was like, I know that's what he wanted to talk about. Because usually anytime people start a conversation with me, it's because that's what they want to talk about. Even if they're asking me about me, I know that that's what they want to talk about. And I let them. I'm private, so I don't really tell my business anyway. So, and it's funny, y'all. He asked me that question, and I never talked about a man. I don't even remember answering the question. I never talked about a man, but I know everything about him and his man. I know they long distance. I know he drive. I know that his man drive trucks. I know that he be up all night talking to his man. I know a lot about him and his man. Okay, whole time I never answered the question. So yeah, I just know that what people ask me, they just want to talk about themselves, and it's like cool, cool. But you got to build support systems, y'all. You got to be able to so I am really big on like joining Facebook groups. Join the Facebook groups, y'all. Find groups that are aligned with the goals. Like I have one of my goals right now is to make more like women friends, like to have more friends that are like aligned, that I'm aligned with. Like we have the same kind of desires, same kind of goals, the same kind of vision for our life. Like I'm working on making friends like that. So I'm in a couple Facebook groups where that's the purpose, is to make friends. So join the Facebook groups, y'all. Like if you're into gardening, I'm in a gardening Facebook group. So join the Facebook group because that's going to help you so much. It's going to encourage you. It's going to keep you pushing. It's going to help you stay positive too. So join the Facebook groups, y'all. So, all right, what are your highs and lows? Was mine. I couldn't wait. Yeah, Erica loved that question, y'all. Yeah, I know. You know, it's funny. I got that question from my supervisor. So when I did my first semester of internship, and I was counseling clients, that was how she started the session. And she was like, "Well, you can start it however you like, but this is how I start." I'm like, "Nah, girl, I'm using that." And so I use them. I use with my coaching clients. I use with my coaching clients. But I like asking people their highs and lows because again, you have to decide what that is for you. Like I'm not coming in and asking you about what's happened since the last time we talked. I'm not coming in and asking you what's happened since the last time we talked, and then I'm telling you it's a high and low. I want you to tell me what your highs and lows were because then that gives me a better idea of how you perceive experiences in your life. Like I remember there were times where Erica was like, and I might have posted a video. But shout out to Erica for letting me post our sessions. Shout out to Erica. But I think there was a time when I got lost my train of thought, y'all. Hold on, I'm coming back. Okay, there was a time where one of Erica's responses was, "I consider this a high because," and I love that. I love that because yes, you identified. You know how this felt in your body in real time. You know how you perceived it. You know how it. You know how you experienced it. So I want you to tell me that this was a high for you. So I love that. I love that. So that's another reason why I love asking that question because it makes you think about what highs and lows are. Because there are people who experience things and they don't see that as a low and they see it as a high. And to me, it's a low. Like to me, I would perceive it as a low, but it's not my life. So it's like, it's up to them to perceive it how they want. Y'all, TikTok is tripping. Why are they making me do I gotta verify it. I suck at these verification things because why are you making me do this? I gotta bring the damn puzzle piece over to continue my live. They talking about I've been inactive. What am I supposed to do? I'm on here talking. Okay, there we go. It's okay. I'm almost done. I have been on here for a while. I don't kept y'all for a whole hour today, but I had a lot of information and I had to share it all. All right, so by following these steps, you get to harness the power of overthinking and empower your mindset. So this is going to help you get out of survival mode. It's going to help you create more balance in your life. It's going to help you reduce the amount of time you spend overthinking. So let's go over the 7 steps really, really quick. Again, I'm probably going to turn this into a mini class because I have really, really enjoyed talking about this. And I'm going to continue talking about overthinking because I feel like overthinking encompasses a lot of what people are doing that's keeping them from achieving their goals. So I'm probably going to continue talking about overthinking and things like that because I feel like that's a good way. I feel like regardless of what all my clients are going through, because a lot of times it's hard for me to be very specific online, only because I get all the situations are completely different. Like people's situations are completely different. And so, but I think overthinking is a good way to encompass what everybody's doing, and what everybody's blocker is. So I'm probably going to continue talking about overthinking. We'll just talk about different topics. Like I know I have a friend who wants me to talk about finances. He wants me to talk about like credit and savings and things like that and how to manage your money. And I know a lot of people overthink money, like they overthink about the process of money. Like I'm not even somebody who does. I don't have no bougie spreadsheet. I don't have no bougie like tracker for my money. I literally have a what is it, a what's the thing called? Let me see, it's right here. I literally have a primary journal. And I have been tracking my finances in this primary journal since 2021. I don't know if y'all can see. Can y'all see that? I've been tracking my money in this journal since 2021. Like every single time I get paid, it goes in this journal and I track my money in this journal. So I don't have no fancy special budgeting tools. I'm not a spreadsheet girl. I'll never be giving y'all spreadsheets and stuff like that. I'm not a spreadsheet girl. I like to write things down. So I don't really like doing everything digitally. I feel like so much is digital anyway. So I'm not a spreadsheet girl. So when I do talk about finances coming up, because I know like the holidays and stuff are coming up. So I definitely want to talk about like preparing for the holidays, like financially and things like that. Because a lot of people do wait until like November to start like Christmas shopping. And I don't celebrate Christmas, so I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about gifts and stuff like that. But a lot of y'all do celebrate Christmas, and a lot of y'all do, buy gifts and things like that. So definitely do some financial planning and some mental planning for the holidays. So we'll be talking about that soon. So it'll just be a different topic. If you ever have a topic you want me to talk about too, just DM me. And I have no problem creating a whole series on it. I love doing this. All right, so look again, the 7 steps to help you turn overthinking into your superpower. The first one is understanding the difference between thoughts and thinking. Remember, a thought is spontaneous, it's random. A thinking is the deliberate and conscious engagement with that thought. The deliberate and conscious engagement with that thought. Step 2 is you need to identify your triggers, okay? You need to be journaling your triggers. You need to be identifying patterns. What is happening before you start overthinking? What is happening before you overthink? Step 3 is you need to be practicing mindfulness. Give yourself 5 to 10 minutes a day to meditate. Look up some deep breathing. We talked about 4-7-8 breathing. We talked about square breathing. Use some breathing techniques to bring yourself back to I always say earth. Because when you're overthinking, you're in your head, you're in the air. So I always say bring yourself back to earth, ground yourself with some deep breathing, right? Step 4 is you want to turn into a lawyer. You want to challenge your thoughts. When you're overthinking, you have to challenge your thoughts because everything that you're thinking is not a fact. So you need to be asking yourself, is this even true? What evidence do I have? What is the worst case scenario? You need to be asking yourself this stuff because you need to challenge these thoughts. You need to also be setting time limits. So you need to time block that overthinking. Dedicate time every single day to overthink. Just dedicate some time to overthinking and allow yourself 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever's going on. Allow yourself time to sit every day and overthink. Just give yourself that time because your body will get used to that and you'll start overthinking less throughout the day because your body knows you already got time for that later. There's already time. Also, make sure you get up off your ass. When you're overthinking, one of the best ways to stop that overthinking right then and there is to get up and go do something. There's always something to be done. I always tell people do a brain dump. If you need help with a brain dump, definitely DM me because we can book a brain dump. So you need to do a brain dump and you need to identify all the things that you need to do. So when you're overthinking, you don't have to think about what you need to do. Just pick one. Just pick something off the list. Pick something off the list and then get to it. So because you got to get up and you got to move. Step 6 to use overthinking to your advantage, turn it into your superpower. List out the pros and cons of this thing that you're overthinking. Plan and strategize. Reflect, don't ruminate. Don't sit there and think about all the negative things. See what you can learn and how you can shift this, right? Step 7 is you need to get out of survival mode, y'all. As long as you're overthinking, you're going to stay in survival mode. So you have to start regulating your nervous system by improving your self-care. You got to start taking care of yourself. You got to start paying attention to what you eat, paying attention to how you sleep, paying attention to your exercise. Commit to taking care of yourself every single day. Every single day, commit to taking care of yourself. If you don't know what that looks like for you, you need to book a balanced pathway planning session because you need to be clear about these things in order to help get yourself to the next level, okay? So book a balanced pathway planning session, y'all. This is only going to be half off until the end of the month. So that means it is $149 right now. The sessions are normally $297 and it's a 90-minute session. We're going to spend 1 hour together creating this plan. I'm going to email you all the information that you need after that. And then we're going to spend a 30-minute session talking about how the plan is working and what needs to be modified, okay? So you need to be setting short-term goals. You need to use your key rewards bingo sheet to help you reward yourself with these short-term goals. And a short-term goal is something as simple as I'm going to work out 1 day a week. For the next 3 weeks, I'm going to work out 1 day a week. Something that simple, right? You need to be building support systems. Join that Facebook group, y'all. Join that running club. Join whatever support you have around you. Find a group to join. So that way you can be surrounded by positive influences and people who can be sounding boards for you. People who can show you where you can be if you put the work in now. Okay. You need that in your life. You want that in your life. So these are going to be the 7 steps that you need to do in order to turn overthinking into your superpower. Okay. Thank y'all for joining me for another Balanced Millennial Monday. Of course, we'll be back next week. I'm here every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you turn on your post notifications. Join my email list in order to get notifications as well, because I blow folks' emails up on Monday because I'm live on Monday. So I need to be here. So if you want to work with me, you can always DM me so I can send you a link. We can book a 15-minute consultation to see how I can best support you. Again, the Balanced Pathway Planning Session is $297. It's $297, but it is half off until the end of the month. It is half off to the end of the month, so that means $149. Make sure you book that session before the price goes back to normal. And it's going to be very, very helpful for you if you're someone who's not aware of what a self-care routine looks like for you. If you're someone who's not really good at setting short-term goals, or you really don't know what kind of goals you want to set, this Balanced Pathway Planning Session is going to be perfect for you, because we're going to create all of that together. We're gonna create all that together. You're gonna have a full plan to help you move forward and get closer and closer to a balanced lifestyle. So again, thank y'all so much for joining me. That is my time for tonight, and I will be back again next Monday at the same time. Hope to see y'all there. Make sure y'all share this with anybody that needs it, and I will see y'all next week.